Hi everyone, my name is Kristen and today I'm going to be teaching you all about the Naples Children and Education Fund. This is a foundation that is based in Naples, Florida and does a lot of really awesome things for the high-risk children in that area. The Naples Children and Education Fund strives to support all aspects of a high-risk child's life, such as their physical, emotional, and educational well-being. While Deborah Koch warns organizations to be careful of ideas larger than they can manage, the NCEF uses a thorough approach to reach their goals. The foundation divides their mission into 4 coalitions and 7 initiatives to support each part of their overall goal. We will dive into the strategic coalitions in the next slide because they dictate what the foundation is looking for in terms of grants. The initiatives, however, are based on an assessment NCEF commissioned from the University of Florida. This assessment revealed the largest challenges children in Collier County face. NCEF formed 7 different initiatives to tackle the areas presented from that research. Moving on, their Naples Winter Wine Festival is the largest contributor to their chosen programs. It is an exclusive 3-day event that is one of the top 10 arts and entertainment events for affluent Americans, and is especially coveted since only 550 admission tickets are available. They have raised over $220 million since the first festival in 2001. Through their philanthropy, this foundation has provided 275,000 children with services and resources to improve their lives and is well regarded in the community for the work that they have done. Deborah Koch shares 6 ways the proposed project, organization, and grantmaker need to match in her book, How to Say It Grant Writing. The 6 questions are: is your organization an eligible applicant? Is your organization within the funder's preferred or restricted geographic area? Is your work in alignment with the funder's stated subject matter interests? If you are applying under a particular request for proposals, also called an RFP, does the project you propose respond to the specific issue the RFP seeks to address? Is the amount of money you are requesting appropriate for that funder? Does your organization's problem-solving approach and point of view match the funders? Since we do not have a specific project or organization at this time, we will instead discuss what sorts of projects would be a good match for NCEF. NCEF accepts any proposals that meet their requirements. They do not prevent unsolicited proposals nor require a proposal to be pre-selected. Their requirements are provided services in Collier County for at least 1 year prior to submission, that the program will be a 1-year commitment only, and they state that they will not fund educational programs during the day, religious teaching or causes based on faith, scholarly or medical research, startup organizations, or duplications of services already in the community. Because NCEF requires at least 1 year experience serving their county, a well-established organization that has worked in the county previously is an acceptable match. Furthermore, based on NCEF's rejection of startups, they are most likely looking for an organization that can prove their competency. Similarly, NCEF utilizes data-based research to determine the many needs in their community. So it's likely that a well-established organization with their own data on their previously successful programs would be accepted. This organization should not have any religious affiliations since NCEF does not accept programs of this nature. Another possible project would be a 1-year program that shares a new perspective or approach to helping a specific concern of the foundation. This assumption is based on the 1-year commitment requirement and the refusal to fund duplications of services already in place. As for a required or restricted geographic area, the NCEF does require that this project occur in their county. So a proposed project would therefore need to serve children in Collier County. Now we're going to look at whether a funder's stated subject material interests match with an organization. Thankfully for us, the NCEF divides their grant money among 4 coalitions. Our 4 coalitions are child advocacy, early learning, medical and healthcare, and out-of-school time. The first coalition for child advocacy focuses on funding services in homes for children who are victims of domestic violence. This coalition receives 20% of NCEF's funding to award to grants for this shared subject matter. So a proposed project for this one could provide quality meals to the residing victims in a shelter. The Early Learning Coalition receives 28% of the foundation's overall funding. This is likely because NCEF believes, quote, the greatest challenges facing our country, from academic issues to poverty and crime to lack of access to health services, can only be met by focusing on the development of our children beginning at birth, end quote. With such a focus on pre-kindergarten children, a project that offers high-quality early childhood education programs would be a good match. Also, because the Early Learning Coalition receives most of the funding, you would have the highest probability of acceptance if you are offering a proposal in this category. Moving on, the Medical and Healthcare Coalition also receives a large portion of funding. As the name suggests, this section supports the overall health of children, including mental and emotional health, as well as physiological. A possible project idea to apply to this coalition would be a free vision clinic that travels to Title I schools and gives the students eye exams after school. As for the out-of-school time, it relates to after-school or summer programs that better equip children for their future. A possible project idea for this coalition would be a cost-free summer program within a local science museum. Now we're going to look into RFPs. NCEF does not currently offer any RFPs for their grants. They are more kind of open like we discussed in the previous slides. They do, however, define themselves as investors interested in attaining the highest possible levels of human gain for the grant dollars they have available, which then leads me to conclude that NCEF would prefer projects that are collaborative and replicable to others, as Koch mentions in her book as a valuable asset. They also strategically invest within the 4 coalitions we previously discussed. So as long as your proposal adheres to one of those main coalitions, then it is likely that the project could be accepted. As for the amount of money that an organization could request from a funder, we do need to make sure that is it appropriate for the size of the funder. Conveniently for us, NCEF is a very large organization that has been around since 2000. They typically offer $5.9 million among roughly 40 organizations. If divided equally, each organization would receive about $147,500. However, as we discussed, the money is divided among the 4 coalitions, and it is divided from anywhere from 28% to some and 20% to another. However, I am an English major, I don't do math, so we're going to roughly estimate that each one would get within the realm of $147,500. Therefore, generally speaking, a possible project could ask for an amount of money within that range. When looking to make sure that your organization and a funder are a good match, another thing to consider is that your problem-solving approaches and your point of views are the same. For the problem-solving approach of NCEF, they mostly work through direct service, which can be concluded by their claim to invest in programs versus investing in research, policy, etc. They also seek to directly impact intended beneficiaries instead of addressing the underlying issue. Their point of view is likely that they have pride in their foundation, which is expressed through phrases such as, "Our commitment is unwavering," and "holds great promise for all." These are very strong statements, but they show that they are proud of their company and what they have accomplished thus far. They also make their community feel involved by using inclusive pronouns such as we and us, which allude to the county versus the foundation. So proposed project elements for this one. This project should be hands-on. It should be service-focused based on their problem-solving approach of direct service. It also should involve many volunteers versus largely paid employee-based, meaning that we need kind of like the common man, everyday person volunteering. They do not need to be highly trained or highly educated per se, because we are not here to change the policy. We are here to help out. So we need all the hands we can get. We need all the people we can get. Chances are you won't be able to pay them a salary because of the nature of the project. I'm sure there will be some employees that could be funded that are a little bit more in charge, but generally speaking, the program will be mostly volunteer-based. Now we're going to take a look at some of the Naples Children and Education Fund recently funded projects. We are going to break it down by coalition since, as we've already discussed, their grants are funded via different coalitions that have different focuses. So when looking at the Child Advocacy Coalition, one of the projects that they funded was through Better Together, which is an organization that provides families with community support to abused children and help prevent the families from entering foster care. They were awarded $140,000. In terms of the Early Learning Coalition, they funded a Fun Time Early Childhood Academy that provides safe, quality childcare and education for low-income families. NCEF awarded them $140,000. As for Medical and Healthcare Coalition, they chose the ABLE Academy, which provides intensive behavior analysis and therapy for autistic and other developmentally disabled children ages 1 through 7. This coalition got $170,000. For Out of School Time Coalition, they chose the Boys and Girls Club of Collier County, which provides daily academic and developmental summer programs. They awarded them $450,000. So now we're going to take a look on what inferences can be made based off of these projects that were funded within the coalitions. Now we are going to look at inferences that can be made based on the recently funded projects and also how NCEF represents themselves. In terms of recently funded projects, it is clear that they choose well-known and recognized organizations such as the Boys and Girls Club. We talked about that previously. It was just really evident throughout what NCEF required of their grants and just what they presented about themselves. They do choose a variety of organizations that relate to the 4 coalitions as they promise. They pride themselves on organizing their grant money into the 4 coalitions and do seem to choose organizations that relate to each one. In terms of proposed project elements, as said, the organization should be well established. However, if the organization is not well established, then their proposal should rely heavily on statistics and data to prove their validity. Also, the proposal should be visually appealing as well as concise. In simply viewing NCEF's impact report in their website, it is clear that their marketing people understand their job. It is so visually appealing and super easy to navigate, so that leads me to believe that they have a very large staff and are very competent in what they're doing and feel strongly that they can choose appropriate organizations. The proposal should also be highly collaborative with the community. That is something that has been expressed throughout everything represented by NCEF. They really like things that are shared throughout the community, both in the more affluent parts of the county and down to the ones that are being helped by this, which are like the high risk, less fortunate types of people. Now we are going to look at inferences that